You guys, the hiyab is wonderful.
I'm going to forget all this. The Sheikh is telling me say this about ASHURA. I'm going to forget everything.
When do you write it down?
I need to.
Think when I speak a lot. When I speak from the heart. Don't pretend. If you're going to do a show, not that, أنا ببين كابكاسي. Just be yourself and just see how you feel. That's all. Okay, let me tell you how I feel. We're supposed to be like codes, refugees, Syrian refugees. This is how it all started. But then I talked to your uncle and then I talked to her that I really let's do something for everybody. We هلا for ASHURA we do it for the Syrian refugees, the kids, والكبار كمان if they want to. And they told me 20 students each week they are entering German school. Some of them they don't have any. So right away it caught my attention. Said, okay, I'm done. After that, in a place where people can drop their coats, because the Syrian refugees, somebody can pick them up. Some they can work, they usually sort it out, but then by sizes, by things. But we won't do this immediately. If كانوا يعملوا مثلا زمان fix them up and they sort them out in their place. She told me this lady, they have different sites. Some of them in country, some of them in Canada. Most of the 6,000 refugees are in the controlled refugee centers. Assalamu alaikum, Maulana. So we went and tried to do something like this.
So what's the end?
So she just wants you to mention that.
Okay. Okay, if I say, okay, well,
we need some kind of box where people can drop them. Put in the front or something,
So we have a food drive that's separate from what you're talking about. Okay, right? So what do I want to say
make a
about
flyer.
Okay, what do we want to say about the food
You say
drive?
the ICA is collaborating with the ASHURA project and second food driving and outside the store and drop them off on behalf of the clients.
علينا كيفك؟ كيف
الحمد لله
الصحة؟
السلامة.
الله يحفظك الله يسلمك. دايما بيجي على صلاة الجمعة أنا بس بيجي آخر واحد وبروح أول واحد. Community Helpers for Michigan Refugees. This is the organization. هلا هني بيكونوا العفش بس راح احنا بيجوا اخذوه.
Your light today? Let there be light.
Let there be light down. You're the light guy.
I'm the light guy, I'm the guy. Is that better or you want it more?
Yeah.
No, that's simple, that's fine.
Yeah, I was wondering if they have any resources in sign language.
No, I just was.
And I need your
Like
Western
we have
names.
cleaners, we have, when they do food, they drive cleaners, they bring us the boxes, they bring us the signs.
Is that dim enough, that fourth one? Or what?
Housewives, they're putting
So we
something.
have like, I don't know if
Do we have some kind of?
nobody's gonna have to be cold because we're not gonna be close to it. Because you're gonna be announcing it the first day.
They said there'll be other.
Tomorrow we'll do something, we'll get boxes or something. Can you get boxes somewhere? I mean,
Home Depot, I'm sure they washer or dryers or something like that. And I see it, and I'm using one of this car, so it doesn't fit a big box.
Should be boxes that are full. Very easy to bring.
Very good.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Thank you for joining us for our second night of the ASHURA program in English. And inshallah everyone is doing well. Inshallah we could get more people to come in the next few minutes. But we're going to begin with a Quran recitation for right now. I'm going to bring Samat al-Sheikh up, Ibrahim Yassin, to do some Quran. Let's have a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. بعد بدي make announcement.
أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وكم قصمنا من قرية كانت ظالمة وأنشأنا بعدها قوما آخرين فلما أحسوا بأسنا إذا هم منها يركضون لا تركضوا وارجعوا إلى ما أترفتم فيه ومساكنكم لعلكم تسألون قالوا يا ويلنا إنا كنا ظالمين فما زالت تلك دعواهم حتى جعلناهم حصيدا خامدين وما خلقنا السماء والأرض وما بينهما لاعبين ولو أردنا أن نتخذ لهوا لاتخذناه من لدنا إن كنا فاعلين بل نقذف بالحق على الباطل فيدمغه فإذا هو زاهق ولكم الويل مما تصفون وله من في السماوات والأرض ومن عنده لا يستكبرون عن عبادته ولا يستحسرون يسبحون الليل والنهار لا يفترون أم اتخذوا آلهة من الأرض هم ينشرون لو كان فيهما آلهة إلا الله لفسدتا فسبحان الله رب العرش عما يصفون لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون أم اتخذوا من دونه آلهة قل هاتوا برهانكم هذا ذكر من معي وذكر من قبلي بل أكثرهم لا يعلمون الحق فهم معرضون وما أرسلنا من قبلك من رسول إلا نوحي إليه أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدون وقالوا اتخذ الرحمن ولدا سبحانه بل عباد مكرمون لا يسبقونه بالقول وهم بأمره يعملون يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يشفعون إلا لمن ارتضى وهم من خشيته مشفقون ومن يقل منهم إني إله من دونه فذلك نجزيه جهنم كذلك نجزي الظالمين ألا أولم يرى الذين كفروا أن السماوات والأرض كانتا رتقا ففتقناهما وجعلنا من الماء كل شيء حي أفلا يؤمنون وجعلنا في الأرض رواسي أن تميد بهم وجعلنا فيها فجاجا سبلا لعلهم يهتدون وجعلنا السماء سقفا محفوظا وهم عن آياتها معرضون وهو الذي خلق الليل والنهار والشمس والقمر كل في فلك يسبحون وما جعلنا لبشر من قبلك الخلد أفإن مت فهم الخالدون كل نفس ذائقة الموت ونبلوكم بالشر والخير فتنة وإلينا ترجعون وإذا رآك الذين كفروا إن يتخذونك إلا هزوا أهذا الذي يذكر آلهتكم وهم بذكر الرحمن هم كافرون خلق الإنسان من عجل سأريكم آياتي فلا تستعجلون ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين لو يعلم الذين كفروا حين لا يكفون عن وجوههم النار ولا عن ظهورهم ولا هم ينصرون بل تأتيهم بغتة فتبهتهم فلا يستطيعون ردها ولا هم ينظرون صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات نهدي ثواب ما قرأنا إلى أرواح أموات الحاضرين جميعا والشهداء وثواب الفاتحة.
Let's have a loud salawat for Samat al-Sheikh Ibrahim Yassin for that beautiful recitation, please. Before we begin, I want to have a couple quick announcements here. We have a food drive that the ICA is participating in, and it's with the ASHURA project, and we have the bins outside this middle hall here if anyone's interested. So please be generous during this time. And we're also setting up a coat drive for Syrian refugees, and we're going to be setting up some bins inshallah as well for that, and I'll have more information in the coming days on how we're going to structure that exactly. And one note, please make sure your cell phones are in the silent position or off. We'd greatly appreciate it, so please double check those. And then I also wanted to address one other thing. Okay, with respect to ASHURA, I wanted to just touch on something before we begin. And this is a very important time of the year and month for us, and it's great that we could all get together, you know, us sisters and brothers, you know, to share in the sorrow of this important 10 nights. And it's great to do some reflecting in that aspect, you know, and we don't wanna just only do it in these 10 nights, so we wanna use it as a stepping stone for the future, so we could, you know, prosper. We wanna improve. That's what it's about, improving on a daily basis. So we could take this time and try to reflect, and we offer our condolences to our living Imam, Ajjallahu Farajahu, inshallah. And inshallah everyone is doing very well this evening. But also one other note, we are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. And if anyone can't make it at this time, 6 o'clock might be a little difficult, please let them know. And inshallah we could, we all know people, we could get more people here, invite others to come and share in this very important nights with us. So without further ado, I would like to bring up our speaker, our Imam of the center here, our beloved Imam, We have a lot of respect for him. We love him dearly. And let's introduce Samaat al-Sheikh, Dr. Ibrahim Kazaruni. Ala salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, please.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا دائما نشكره على ما هدانا، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always, as we are eternally grateful for His guidance. Blessing and salutation is to our noble Prophet of Islam and his pure progenies. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah wa ala al-arwah allati hallat bifina'ik. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد أرسلنا رسلنا بالبينات وأنزلنا معهم الكتاب والميزان ليقوم الناس بالقسط. We have indeed sent our messengers with clear proof and send with them the book and the balance, so that people may uphold justice. Tonight, the second night of our program, I would like to go over a few of the points that I talked about last night as a recap, for the benefit of those who were not present last night. To begin with, I discussed that in the Holy Quran, although Quran itself is not a book of history, there are certainly a number of qasas or stories that have been narrated or explained. And these stories are listed in the Quran. Sometimes even chapters of the Holy Quran have been identified or has been identified with the particular character that plays a major role in that particular chapter. For example, Luqman, Yusuf, Maryam, Kahf, and so on. If we look at the verses in the Holy Quran, clearly they remind the reader that these stories are being told for a purpose, and encourage the readers to pay attention and contemplate and benefit or take a lesson from these chapters or these stories, because there might be unique context under which these stories unfolded, but there are certainly general principles or universal values that can be taken out of these stories and interpreted and implemented in our lives. The degree by which we learn from history depends on how much of these principles are applied in our daily lives. If we never take ibrah, as Quran says, or we learn a lesson and we don't implement any of those fundamental principles in our lives, then we really have not learned anything from history. This is why we go through repeating history and the same thing happen all over again. So this notion of the critical role that history plays in our understanding and comprehension, and even the way we understand or the worldview that we have, is something that we have to pay attention. I also alluded to the fact that from these stories, Quran reminds us that there are sunan, principles, that they have led to the rise and the fall of the previous nations. If these principles were to be repeated, the absence or the presence of few of them is going to lead to either destruction or elevation, the rise or the fall of any nation. I cited at least 4 last night. Number 1 was the absence or the presence of justice. Number 2, the absence or presence of amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar, to encourage people to do good and discourage them to do evil. Unity and disunity, the presence of unity and the absence of it. If the community or the society is divided or the society is united. And also moral corruption. Last night, for each one, I cited 1 or 2 verses clearly supporting my argument. I also said that if you look at the stories that have been narrated about martyrs, every single religious martyr has a story behind him. Every story of a religious martyr has a story behind it, has a principle behind it. And these stories or principles not only clearly define why in that unique time this event happened, there are other issues within these stories, principles that we can apply them in our life and relate to these martyrs. By the way, this is not unique to our own history. Those of you who have studied Christian, Jewish, or other nations' history certainly will come across. There are books and even themes in academia that specifically teach the notion of martyrdom. So, in Islam, martyrs in Islam are not exception from the rule. If we look at these stories, there are certainly something unique about their own time. Let's look at Karbala. The 10th of Muharram, 61 after Hijrah, and the way the Ahlul Bayt were killed and slaughtered and destroyed has certainly certain unique concepts about that particular time. But there are other general principles that we can apply them to our time. These were the issues that I discussed last night. But the first of these 4 conditions that may lead to the rise or the fall of every nation or different nations was justice. There is no doubt that Islam, the central aim of Quran, is to establish a variable order, social order, on earth that will be just and ethically and morally based. Otherwise, there is no immoral community or immoral society or nation that can be given the responsibility of establishing justice. And the verse is clear. Indeed, we have sent our messengers, and we gave them with a clear proof, and send with them the book and the balance so that people establish justice. If ethical and moral principles are not to be observed within the society, there is an expression in Arabic that says, فَاقِدُ الشَّيْء لَا يُعْطِي. If you don't have it, you cannot give it. If the society is immoral, deprived of all ethical and moral value, they cannot become the role model and the callers for justice and equity for others. So the notion of justice can only make sense if moral principles exist in Islam, in the society. Now, if we go back to the early history of Islam, how did the Holy Prophet ﷺ change this mindset? A revolution took place, but a gentle revolution in which the mindset, the shift took place in their way of thinking. Let me give you a story. The Holy Prophet migrates to Medina. A place is designated to become what later on now we have it as Masjid al-Nabi. Dedicated that ultimately we will build a mosque around it. But everybody knew that this is going to be a holy place, or at least a sacred place. Late at night, when Muhajirin, these are the immigrants, began to come to Medina, late at night the Holy Prophet wanders around Medina, the mosque itself, to see and visit and check that everybody is fine and everything was okay. In one of these visits, he sees that the richest man in Medina is living and sleeping in the mosque. Comes to him and says, Ya Fulan, you are the richest person in Medina. What are you doing in the mosque? You have the biggest house, all the wealth. So what are you doing here? He said, Ya Rasulullah, when the immigrant began to arrive in Medina, I divided my big house into different compartments and different, call it apartments these days, or sections. I took the smallest apartment or the room for myself, where I asked my wife and my children to live. The rest of the house, I have divided it between the other immigrants that they came to Medina. In the room that I chose for myself, there is not enough room for myself to sleep in it. I have to come to Medina. This is in a matter of a short period of time. What happened? This shift in mindset, that from a society that primarily looked at wealth, class, blood, and everything else to be the criteria that judged the honor and dignity of everybody else, to a society that looks for taqwa. Inna akramakum indallah atqakum. This shift in consciousness took place and morality brought in. This is why we see that the verse has a role to play, and people began to implement justice. Imam Baqir salawatullah wa salam alayh, in a hadith that says, when the Holy Prophet began to establish what we call the Islamic society in Medina, استقبل الناس بالعدل. He dealt with people with absolute justice. People saw justice. He embodied justice. He practiced justice. So justice is absolutely paramount in Islam. And no ideology or faith, you can search. I have done I have read history of Christianity, Judaism, and other faiths. I have yet, I stand to be corrected if there are books that I haven't read, but no faith or ideology that focuses on the issue of justice and human dignity as much as Islam does. It leaves us with a perplexing question. Why is it, despite all this, we don't practice this in our own community and society? The significance of this issue, the issue of justice in a society, can be established by the number of verses, hadith, Imam's deeds, etc., etc., etc. Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan. Verse in the Holy Quran. Allah commands justice and compassion. Al-adl hayatul ahkam shapes and forms all the laws of Sharia. Al-adl ra'sul iman. These are different ahadith that our imams have. The essence of faith. Somebody comes to Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi and says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, al-adlu afdal am al-jud? Which one is better? Generosity or justice? Imam says, al-adlu afdal. Justice is much more superior than generosity. Why? You see, he said, for you to become generous, the social structure must not be somehow stable. The social structure will divide the community into the have and the have-nots, and then you become generous and support the have-nots. But if justice prevails, إِنَّ الْعَدْلِ يَضَعُ الْأُمُورِ فِي مَوَاضِعَهَا. It balances the society. Then there is no need for the rich to be generous, because everyone's right and everyone's dignity has been preserved. Al-adl afdal an al-adl yada'u al-umur mawadhi'aha. Balances everything in society. And adl and justice in Islam is the most expansive justice that you can imagine. Both in personal relationship, in social structure, in economic, in religion, and you name it, understanding of the faith, even interpretation of legal laws. The notion of adl, كلما حكم به العقل حكم به الشرع. And justice, not only as an attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a unique principle that not dictates human dignity and justice, that not only dictates what we call political principle, but every other principle in Islam. So what we have in Karbala, two mindset. The Jahiliyyah mindset, that on the one hand sees power to be absolute, and everything else you can sacrifice for the sake of that power. Some people, when they read a poem by Yazid that says, لعبت هاشم بالملك فلا خبر جاء ولا وحي نزل, they say, well, he didn't believe in anything. No, he believed in the Jahiliyyah mindset. He sees the whole issue of the Risala and Imama and everything else within the context, within the lens of power. And as such, everything has to be sacrificed for the sake of power. There is no ethics, there is no morality. In the contemporary, what we call political language, it's a realist school. Power is absolute. Everything else can be expanded. You sacrifice akhlaq, morals, justice, ethics, right, people's right, everything else for the sake of keeping on to power. On the one hand, and then on the other hand, when you have Imam Hussein salawatullah salam alayhi, they embodies a uniquely different understanding of power. That power is not the goal, but the mean for establishment of justice. Ibn Abbas, after the battle of Jamal, I believe, or Safin, the doubt is from me, enters the tent of Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi and sees him sitting down and mending his slippers that has been mended many times. And he becomes critical. He says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, why don't you go and buy a new pair of slippers? You are Khalifatullah on earth, you are Amir al-Mu'mineen, why don't you go and buy a new pair of slippers? He says, Ya Ibn Abbas, how much do you think these pairs of slippers worth? He says, nothing, comes the reply. He says, Wallah la hiya ahabbu ilayya min imaratikum illa an aqima haqqan aw atfa'a batala. Leadership to me is worth less than these pairs of slippers unless I use the leadership to establish justice, defend somebody's right, and protect and challenge an oppressor. The same kind of language, we see it in Karbala. Man ra'a sultanan ja'iran. These are, I pointed out last night, I said that if you look at the slogans and the messages that Imam Hussein salawatullah salam alayhi presents and discusses from the moment that he leaves Medina until he gets to Karbala, and even during Ashura, we see and analyze these messages. It's quite clear. Man ra'a sultanan ja'iran mustahillan li haramillah. If you see a tyrant leader that is disrespectful to the principle of Allah, violating the right of everyone, crushing the skulls of the people and everything else, and you remain silent, you deserve the same punishment as the tyrant himself or herself. And it really challenges everyone. That if establishment of justice is so critical, if karama and dignity of every human being is so vital, and it is the foundation, لَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ, the sons of Adam, irrespective of their faith, their color, their creed, their geographical position, where they are, inherently have a dignity that you have to respect and you cannot violate. If justice and dignity is so critical in our faith, then the consequence is disastrous. By definition, then, wherever there is poverty, there is no justice. Wherever there is tyranny, there is no justice. Wherever the rights of people are violated and dignity crushed, there is no justice. And in personal relationship, whenever we do not respect our partners, there is no justice. Whenever we have in our the society divides itself into the have and the have-nots, and the mothers have to swallow their prides, brothers and sisters, to come to the center and ask for bread. Why? Because whatever wealth I had to pay for the bills. I cannot put food on the table. Then the justice is violated. Her dignity is violated. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi, as on the way to Siffin, passes close to Kufa and finds an old Christian man sitting on the corner of the road and begging and asking for help. Imam says, "What is this?" He says, "Well, he's a Christian sitting there and begging and asking for support." He says, "Why? You used him when he was young and he had power. And now that he has become decrepit and old, you throw him out? And you claim to be a Muslim? Let's forget about the rest of the world. Focus on our own community. Man asbaha wa lam yahtam bi umur al-muslimin falaysa bi-muslim." So long as there are violations within our own community, disrespect within our community, those people that suffer from economic deprivation, etc., then justice has not been prevailed, and we have to think again about our position, where we stand. Is it close to Yazid or is it close to Imam Hussein? So these are issues that we really need to pay attention to. I'm going to leave you with one question that inshallah tomorrow night we will indulge in explaining it. If you see injustice being committed, what would you do? Do you stand up and challenge? Do you turn your face the other way and I see no evil and I hear no evil. What else do you do? This is the fundamental question that locates us on the continuum of where two sides. One side is Hussein, the other side is Yazid. If we say that we are not going to do anything, then the hadith from Imam Hussein salawatullah salamu alayhi clearly stating that when we see munkar, evil, we should take action. So we have violated it. But if we say we do, we may have a price to pay. Inshallah, we will discuss this tomorrow night. But let us begin first of all by praying and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us to the right path, inshallah, to forgive our shortcomings and grant us the privilege of being on the true followers of Ahlul Bayt. Also, I would like to end by asking everyone to recite Surah Al-Fatiha for the souls of all who have deceased, but specifically keep in mind Marhum Allama Sheikh Muhammad Jawad Shirri. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you very much, Maulana, for that beautiful lecture. It's critical what he points out with respect to justice and how we have to view that in our deen. And one important thing is I see a lot of times is people judging others and the reflection on yourself and how you behave. You know, you have to look at yourself first before you begin to start judging others and say, are you a role model for others to follow before you start criticizing others? And I found that very powerful and moving, and inshallah we could all learn something new each and every night from these beautiful lectures. And let's have a loud salawat to honor him. Ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, please. Next, we're going to have some poetry, inshallah, and we're going to bring Fatma Najdi up to recite some poetry. Let's have a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad for her, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أفضل الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين. Dear brothers and sisters, respected scholars, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If I can please ask for a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. You bring to my heart a peace that leaves me insane. My love for you within me and my soul will never wane. You are my heart's love, Hussein, I've kept you deep in love's vein. My longing for you left me hopeless internally. All of my sadness gathered together to last eternity. For the one who found death and chased it atrociously, Hussein, you live within me permanently. Millions to you gather, and yet for me you wish. I'm but a minor servant waiting for you to relieve all of my anguish. In you, my heart's love, Hussein, I've kept you deep in love's vein. O mountain that watched both the land and moon, loving you has brought hatred of which I'm immune. Loving you has brought hatred of which I'm immune. My life is torn to pieces, but this love will reach you soon. My hopes left me alone and strewn. They yearn to rest, and praise beside you brings a warmth. I built mountains of tolerance that will break when to you I come forth. You won my heart's love, Hussein. I've kept you deep in love's vein. O selfless sun that sets and rises just the same, mourning you brought not a candle that your love lit aflame. From the birth of this light in my heart and soul you became. Hussein, allow your life to be more than one's flame. Both your life and death are deserving of these lovers. They crawl to you, leaving behind their comfort and brothers. Your life, my heart's love, Hussein, I've kept you deep in love's vein. In my dreams I hear your voice whisper. It speaks of truth, selflessness, and honor. Through your justice, only you could prosper. Your lifeless life you've defeated with no helper. With your victory, you arose to every lover's dream. You seeped through time to flow through our bloodstream. Your soul, my heart's love, Hussein, I've kept you deep in love's vein. Oh, he who was tortured. Oh, he who was tortured when he heard the screams of children echo. A glance at true morality, your road one must follow. But to move forward and crush the ego, Hussein, one must know, the battle of which we fight daily in the soul defeats us, but yet fails when we make Hussein our goal. Your dream, my heart's love, Hussein, I've kept you deep in love's vein. My veins captured you. My veins captured you, a glimpse but everlasting. If I let you loose again and walk away, I'll be the one aching. The wound of your absence only ever left me eternally bleeding. Allow my love for you to reach you while my heart is still beating. Allow my love for you to reach you while my heart is still beating. If I upset you, my life would be broken. I'll leave so that my heart could correct each action. Your smile, my heart's love, Hussein, I've kept you deep in love's vein. With my failures and sins, have you come to forgive me? With my failures and sins, have you come to forgive me? Oh, he who found patience as his brethren, Abbas, and himself as its beauty, I cleaned my heart of its shortcomings perfectly, so that when to you I return, I'd be worthy. I thank you for the blessing to know and serve you. But with my faults, you've still accepted me as a servant true. With my faults, you still accepted me as a servant true. Are you, my heart's love, Hussein, I've kept you deep in love's vein. Hussein, I've kept you deep in love's vein. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. His heart held close to my own. Away from the world's kindness he was thrown. My heart not only aches when your name is mentioned, but it stands in shock at your life deadened. To my heart's knowledge, you have lived like a legend, as you and your story in truth was dampened. Your heart was placed in tragedy that couldn't be lifted. Upon your soft chest, an evil waited, shimmer. Your heart was placed in tragedy that couldn't be lifted. Upon your soft chest an evil waited. By the sun of your patience I'm left blinded. No one's perception or lie can make your sky clouded. My heart connects to tragedies as they pass by. Each tragedy brings a picture to our sky, though yours brings rain as tears to help us cry. And nothing was nor is ready to say its goodbye. Your heart uncovers its wounds to be healed. Oh Hussein, when evil comes, your lovers will be your shield. Before your heart that was drowning in hurt, I had kneeled. And Hussein, I never wanted to leave you unhealed. Hussein, I never wanted to leave you unhealed. My heart had just outgrown its time and expiration. I had to come to this time to ensure we would mend what is broken. And what in you, O Hussein, is left unbroken. Your silence and patience together, your only weapon. Your heart pumps your morals even when your heart went silent. Your heart pumps your morals even when your heart went silent. Every month we see your father Ali as the moon and you its crescent. What burdens have made your heart heavy against the wind's current? And how did the power of mending stay distant? My heart wishes to assist you in your healing, but time just continues to keep stretching. In my ears I hear your limbs aching. Oh, he whose thirst was slaked by the wind blowing, your heart boiled from your tongue's thirst. I jump over a mountain to have it by my tears nursed, because I still can't fathom how you were cursed. And so I do anything to bring you from your worst. I do anything to bring you from your worst. My heart is displaced amongst your misfortune. In the world of your distresses, I don't know where to begin. In the worlds of your distresses, I don't know where to begin. To mend at least but half a wound, I'd have to move a mountain. And just with one tear, this would happen. Your heart shouldn't be grateful. This is expected. Your demise with love was scented. I still can't fathom how in your blood and bones you rested. So we'd do anything to bring happiness to you as to God you flooded. My heart could bring oceans of an undisturbed happiness to you. So I'm begging Hussein, tell me in which direction has your soul blew? I wouldn't beg for an answer if I knew. Forgive my disturbances. I'm simply seeking a clearer view. Your heart certainly understands that from God, happiness originates. Your heart certainly understands that from God, happiness originates. A whole nature kingdom of peace in the heart He creates. But hasn't God brought me and the world to resolve your fates? Hasn't Allah brought me and the world to resolve your fates because we love what He loves and hate what He hates? My heart lives in hope that in one day it can carry yours. The heart, its burdens and its hurt of which everyone adores, upon its mountain peaks and bellow streams, the world explores. Our nature learns from your heart's nature and sleeps in its pores. My heart lives in hope that in one day it can carry yours. The heart, its burdens and its hurt of which everyone adores, upon its mountain peaks and bellow streams, the world explores. Our nature learns from your heart's nature and sleeps in its pores. Your heart loves all that sleeps upon and in it. How blessed are we to sleep with a heart that's silent. To nothing will confess, but to your love will admit. To nothing will confess, but to your love, O Hussein, will admit. No second comes where the love in your heart and my heart is unlit. No second comes where the love in your heart and my heart is unlit. Wassalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Ahsan, sister. Thank you very much for that. Let's have a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad for her, please. Next, we are going to have our majlis, inshallah, and we're going to bring Brother Yunus Maki up. Let's have a loud salawat for him, please. Ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
قد أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة. Tonight, my dear brothers and sisters, we will be having an audience with the sickly child of Imam Hussein, Fatima. See, every Fatima in the house of Prophet Muhammad has a story that breaks one's heart. Yet this Fatima truly touches one. This Fatima was a young child who was sick, not only with ailments in her body, but with a broken heart. She was lonely without her father, and all had left her. Her oppression is a lesson of patience for all who await relief from distress. She is not Ruqayya. See, this Fatima is not Ruqayya. She is not Ruqayya, the butterfly whose soul fluttered to the sky. She is not Sukaina, whose heart was calmed with one last glance of her father on the day of Ashura. She is not Zainab. She is not Zainab, who held all calamities upon her back, and still she said, I see nothing but beauty. Brothers and sisters, she is all of them. Yet she alone is the sickly child, the one whom all had left her, and none remained to keep her comfort during her sickness. She is the one with the broken heart, the innocent, the lonely one within her own home, with no brother or mother or uncle or sister or father. She is the one who waited every day for all of them to return to her. Fatima al-Alila is the lesson to all who await with grieving hearts for the Imam of her time. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. السلام على قلب الحسين الكسير. السلام على من بكت عليه كل ضمير. The narrations mention that upon deciding to leave the city of his grandfather, Medina, Imam Hussein gathered all of his family, his children, his siblings, and even his 6-month child, Abdullah al-Radi'. And he told them to prepare themselves, for they would be leaving with him. For they would be leaving with him to no return. None remained in his home in Medina, except his sick child, Fatima, who would not be able to handle the pains of traveling. So Imam Hussein left her as a trust with Prophet Muhammad's pious wife, Salama. This little Fatima was present when her family prepared themselves to leave. She began to stare at her family as they were leaving her behind, crying heavily. She began to crawl on the ground, screaming, Father, Father, Father Hussein, how can you leave me alone? Father, Father Hussein, take me with you. Imam Hussein came running towards her. He tried to comfort her. He told her, my beloved daughter, Habibati Fatima. My beloved daughter, Habibati Fatima, if we arrive at a safe place, and as soon as we settle, I promise I will send your uncle Abbas and brother Ali al-Akbar to bring you to us. She told her father, no, my father, no. My heart is telling me that this will be our last meeting, our last talk, the last time that I rest my cheek upon your cheek, the last time that I lay within your hands. Please allow me to calm my heart with farewelling my sisters, my aunt, my mother and brother. And so this little sick child would circle between the horses, kissing her family a last goodbye. Imagine a small 3-year-old child who knows nothing of life yet. She hasn't seen anything of life. But all she knows is that everything's going to be taken away from her. Imagine this 3-year-old child kissing her family a last goodbye. No more father, no more mother, no more brother, no more sister. It is narrated that Fatima would spend her days and nights in a lonely and empty home crying, and she would run from room to room. She would run from room to room saying, my dear father, I lived under your safety, and a day without it I never thought. Baba, I can't handle your absence, don't leave me. And if you forget me, I won't forget. I am the sick one, and my thoughts are lost. My family left and kept me alone. As time would pass by, 1 week, 2 weeks, it became until 6 months had passed by. No father, no mother, no news of them. She could no longer find excuses for why her uncle and brother hadn't come after her yet. No news reached her. She had an emptiness that could not be filled. It is said that she wrote a letter to her father, complaining to him of all her pain. Imagine the first words of a child is to complain to her father of all her pain. She would run throughout the city of Medina asking for news of her father, until she met a Bedouin man who informed her that he was going to Iraq. She asked him to take the letter with him. On his way, he would ask of news of Hussein until he reached the lonely land of Karbala. It was the noon of the 10th of Muharram. He found Imam Hussein standing on the plains alone with no helper. He ran towards Imam Hussein. He laid himself at his feet. He gave him a letter. He fought then bravely with Imam Hussein until he was martyred. And in his last moments, Imam Hussein did not forget about his 3-year-old daughter. He opened the letter and it said, my father, if you don't come, I'll lose hope. Send me Abbas and give him this note. Tell him his dear is waiting at his door with flowers ready and a smile and love. Imam Hussein looked around him after reading this letter. He looked around for Abbas to give him this letter. He found Abbas laying with no arms, fallen on his face, with an arrow into his eye. He then looked for Ali al-Akbar and found no Ali al-Akbar. He looked for Qasim and found no Qasim. He looked for Muhammad, Fir'aun. He could not find any of them. Then he opened the letter again, and he was reading the last line. In the last line, brothers and sisters, this is the tragedy. In the last line, he read Fatima telling him, kiss my brother Abdullah upon his neck. Imam Hussein looked for him. He picked him up to his hands. He picked him up to go give him a kiss, but found no neck to kiss. Just a headless child and fluttered hands. Rahim Allahu man nada wa Fatima, wa Fatima, وفاطمة أنا العليل التركاني وهضماني أنا بلا يا أب وبلا يا عم تركاني تركاني. May Allah grant us her intercession on the day of judgment. Please stand for us to give our allegiance to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and to his grandson, the Hussein of our time, with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أزور ضياء الله في الكونين، حبيبي ونور العين، المولى أبا عبد الله الحسين، نيابة عن فاطمة العليلة وعن فاطمة الزهراء وصاحب العصر والزمان، قربة طاعة إلى الله تعالى. السلام عليك يا ذبيح الله، السلام عليك يا ثار الله، السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين وعلى التسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصل اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين. الفاتحة. اللهم صل على محمد.
Ahsan, brother. Let's have a loud salawat to honor him, please. Ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This concludes day 2's English program. We're going to have a short break. We're going to have prayer, and then at 8 o'clock we're going to continue. We have the Arabic program that's going to begin. So inshallah, some of you can join us. Wassalamu alaikum.